Ladies and gentlemen, welcome for our 6th launch of the year from the Guyana Space Center, the 3rd with Ariane 5 in 2015. Tonight, Ariane 5 is set to deliver into an optimized geostationary transfer orbit Star 1C4 for Embratel Star 1 in Brazil and MSG4 for EUMETSAT, the European Meteorological Organization. Ariane 5 will be required a performance slightly below 8.6 tons. It will have a window of 37 minutes to lift off, opening precisely at 9:42 p.m. Universal Time. The mission will last a little more than 40 minutes. I would like to thank Embratel Star 1 for entrusting Arianespace with the launch of its 10th satellite, as it did with the 9 previous ones. Once on location, Star 1C4, manufactured by SSL, will strengthen Embratel Star 1 telecommunication services capacity above the American continent, a necessity in view of the upcoming Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro next year. I am also grateful to EUMETSAT, with whom we have also established a long and strong partnership. Manufactured by Thales Alenia Space, MSG4 is the last of Meteosat's second-generation satellites and the 10th Meteosat launched by Arianespace. It will provide meteorological data for weather forecasting and climate monitoring above Europe, Africa, the Atlantic Ocean, and the eastern part of the Americas. But our 18th Ariane 5 is now being readied for liftoff, so enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome. You join us live at the Guyana Space Center for the 6th launch this year. And there's Ariane on the pad going through the final preparations. Liftoff is scheduled in just over 12 minutes' time. You can see the countdown there on the top right-hand side of your screen. I'm Katie Haswell, and our interpreters, Diane Borelli and Christopher Jack, are translating me for our French-speaking viewers. Ariane 5 is a big and powerful beast, and she's made of 3 sections. We call them stages. The first stage constitutes the 2 boosters. There they are on each side, strapped onto the main stage, the large tank in the centre. Above it we have the upper stage, and above that is the fairing. There it is, a height of 17 metres tall. And inside we can see we have our 2 satellites. In the upper position we have Star 1C4 for Embratel Star 1. It's a telecom satellite. And below it is MSG4 for EUMETSAT. It's a 2-ton satellite. And they are both waiting patiently in there, getting ready for liftoff. This is mission control. It's about 18 kilometers from that pad. Various teams working in here. This is an important team. It's called the Flight Control Desk, and these folk are Arianespace top management. They take all the important decisions in the case of any unplanned situations, and teams working across the base report to them. So the first passenger to be separated is Star 1C4 for the Brazilian operator Embratel Star 1.
The A224 Ariane 5 flight will lift off from Kourou and will be the 10th Embratel Star 1 satellite launched by Arianespace. Embratel is the satellite operator leader for the South American market, and we are particularly proud of the confidence Star 1 puts in Arianespace systems reliability.
Arianespace has been responsible for launching all our satellites since 1985. Now we are ready for the future with Star 1C4. We are thrilled to offer even more reliable service to our customers, and we are confident that it will become a reality. Not only because Space System L'Oral manufacturing our satellite, but also and mainly because we have a great satellite engineering team.
I would like to thank SSL team for the great job that we have carried out together throughout this program, and Embratel Star One for the continued confidence they put in Arianespace and in its fleet of launchers.
So great teamwork, and also that goes for our other passenger, Meteosat Second Generation 4, or MSG4 for short. Thales Alenia Space built this meteorological satellite for EUMETSAT, and EUMETSAT is a European agency of 30 countries which operates a fleet of satellites dedicated to monitoring Earth's weather and climate from space.
MSG4 is the 10th Meteosat series geostationary satellite launched by an Ariane vehicle from French Guiana since 1981, and it is the fourth and last one of the second generation of meteorological satellites.
The decision to build MSG4, adding a fourth satellite to the MSG program, was taken by EUMETSAT Council in March 2003 after the launch of MSG1.
The Meteosat second generation program is the result from a successful European cooperation in which the European Space Agency develops the prototype satellites according to the requirements agreed with EUMETSAT.
It was done at a time when the consolidation of the requirements for the future generation of Meteosat started, to ensure the long-term continuation of the operational service to the user in parallel to the preparation of the new generation.
All MSG satellites have been produced by an European space industry consortium led by Thales Alenia Space.
I would like to express a big thank to all involved actors in this program.
And we are looking forward to continuing this fruitful cooperation with EUMETSAT for the Meteosat third generation.
And back here in Mission Control, a couple of key people. This is the Mission Director. Today it's Ignacio Gori. And sitting next to him is our Range Operations Manager. It's Damien Simon. You're going to be
À tous
hearing...
de DDO, attention pour la séquence finale lanceur. Top H0 -7 minutes.
We'll be hearing his voice throughout this flight. He's just announced the beginning of the synchronized sequence. The computers are now performing all the final checks and controls before launch, and they manage a very impressive list of operations. Teams have been working hard at the base to prepare for today. This process is called the launch campaign. The parts of Ariane 5 arrived at the port in Kourou after an 11-day journey from Europe and were transported to the launcher integration building for assembly. The boosters were transferred from storage and attached to the main stage. The upper stage was then integrated with the vehicle equipment bay containing the onboard computer before the whole thing was transferred to the final assembly building on June 16th. Meanwhile, a few kilometres away, MSG4 and Star 1C4 underwent their own preparations in the clean and secure environment of the dedicated satellite facilities here at the Guyana Space Centre, where teams performed a number of operations, including filling the tanks with propellant. Once transferred to the final assembly building, operations could begin to install the satellite launcher using special attachment systems. The whole thing was encapsulated inside the protective environment of the fairing to form what is known as the upper composite. The day before launch, the whole ensemble was rolled out to the pad along a dedicated track, all fully integrated on the launch table with the umbilical tower and supply systems, ready to undergo the final preparations. Well, that was 2 days ago. This is today. And you can see on the right-hand side of the screen there what we call the status panels. A little bit like the dashboard in your car. These are all the main systems across the base which send their health status here to these boards, which are in mission control. And just like traffic lights, they all need to be green for a launch to go ahead. And right now, that is indeed the case. There are lots of different facilities here at the base, covering an area about the size of Martinique, which is the Caribbean island quite close to us, and the whole, which is why we have all the information sent here to mission control. And we have a number of different control centres on the base. This is launch control, several teams, one responsible for ground operations, and another responsible here for the quality operations, just making sure that everybody follows procedures correctly. Another team ensures the flight readiness of the vehicle, led by the Ariane Space Production Manager, and the quality team keeping their eye on those operations as well. And the Launch Control Centre is only 3 kilometres from the pad. It's often called the bunker because it's in a protected building, because it's so close to the pad. So the final countdown actually started about 11.5 hours ago. During that time we checked the electrical systems. We started filling the main cryogenic stage with liquid oxygen and hydrogen. We checked the connections. We had the all systems go report at -7 a few minutes ago. You saw it, allowing the start of the synchronized sequence. And then 2 minutes ago we pressurized the tanks for flight, and the computers in launch control sent the liftoff time to the computers on board Ariane. Take a look at those orange arms connecting and clamping on to the top of the Ariane vehicle. There's a close-up of them there. We call them the cryogenic arms, and they're feeding liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen into the tanks. That's what we call cryogenic fuel. It has to be kept at incredibly low temperatures in order for it to stay as a liquid, so cold in fact that they evaporate until and we keep topping up the tanks until the last few seconds. You'll see those retracting just before launch, and we're getting close now. Concentration levels high. A special hello to everybody us at EUMETSAT in Darmstadt in Germany, and to everybody who's watching us at Embratel Star 1 in Rio de Janeiro. And also, of course, to all the industrial teams who built the satellites, led by Space Systems Loral for Star 1C4 and Thales Alenia Space for MSG4. Coming up to the 1 minute mark.
À tous de DDO, attention pour -1 minute. Top H0 -1 minute.
We are live at the Guyana Space Center for the launch of Star 1C4, a telecommunications satellite for Embratel Star 1 and built by Space Systems Loral, and the weather satellite MSG4 for EUMETSAT, built by Thales Alenia Space. Our very best wishes to all the teams. Good luck, everyone.
À tous de DDO, attention pour le décompte final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, unité. Top allumage moteur Vulcain. Allumage confirmé. Top allumage AP, décollage. Les paramètres à bord sont nominaux.
And there she goes, blazing her trail across the equatorial skies, tucked behind a cloud there because it was very beautiful skies earlier today, and then the clouds came in, and after the initial 12 seconds of vertical climb we rotated to the east, and now we're heading out over the Atlantic Ocean. We are burning 3 engines. You can see the blue flame is from the Vulcan engine, which we...
en vol supersonique, les paramètres à bord sont normaux.
Now, we're going supersonic. We've 48 seconds into the flight. We went through Mach 1, and that means that we're now travelling faster than the speed of sound. We're actually getting the rumble of the vehicle as she flies over here at the Jupiter Mission Control Center, about 18 kilometers from that pad. So, yeah, I was saying we're burning 3 engines, but it's those 2 boosters on the those great big tanks there on the side of the vehicle which are doing all the work, and their job is to get us away from the gravity of the Earth, gravity which makes life possible for us here on Earth, but it also makes it very difficult for us to get away. And we need a lot of firepower to do that. On the bottom of the screen, you can see our altitude. There is... He's telling us that everything's going according to plan. We can see there the altitude is 51 kilometers kilometers above the Earth. In the middle, our distance from the pad, 71 kilometers, as if we were to draw a line across the Earth. And our speed, 2 kilometers per second. And we are getting the scheduled losing of the boosters.
Des EAP, les ensembles d'accélérateurs à poudre.
And he's confirmed it. Separation of the boosters is confirmed. They have burnt their propellant and we don't need them anymore. We are shedding weight. The lighter we are, the faster we go. So we're now burning the main stage. That great big tank there, the grey tank of cryogenic propellant. That's burning for about 9 minutes. Take a look at the top of the vehicle there, you could see it. That was the fairing there on the right-hand side. That's the pointed nose of our launcher. It's protecting the satellites from the rigours of the launch. The acoustic vibrations at liftoff, notably. I think you can imagine just how loud.
Les données reçues sont conformes à l'attendu. Le vol est nominal.
He's saying that everything is nominal. That means that everything is normal and everything is going according to plan. And the fairing is also protecting the satellites from friction because we're flying through the dense part of the atmosphere. And of course that warms the skin of the launcher. But right now we're coming to the edge.